Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Amazing. Jermaine, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you. So to get started, for our listeners, for our viewers, can you just give us a quick kind of rundown of where you were before and kind of how you got to where you are today, now running a very successful coaching business?
Yeah. So I started off my career in recruiting, technical recruiting specifically. Right out of college, first job, finding technical people for projects, more on the staffing side of things, not in corporate. And then eventually evolved into corporate, where I went into management and then leadership. I ran an RPO for many years and then went back into big corporate, where my last job in corporate was a vice president of talent acquisition for a large government contractor, and decided to start my own business thereafter, simply because I felt I amassed a lot of knowledge and experience over that period of time that I wanted to help more people. So I started JLW Management Consulting to specifically do that, more on the recruiting side, going in and helping companies optimize their hiring process, really understanding how to recruit, how to hire, how to onboard talent quickly. And, did that for a number of years. It's been about 8 years now. We've been doing that more RPO based, where companies will call us and say, hey, we have a big hiring need. We don't have the infrastructure with recruiting. Can you and your team come in and help us get this streamlined and get this optimized? And that's what we've done for some very big names, very big companies, multi-billion-dollar organizations, and so on. In that process, I thought about, well, man, I've, again, amassed a lot of knowledge and experience. I want to go into help a lot more people with coaching. Life and career is really my specialty because I've managed and developed a lot of people. But also I've lived a life, right? From moving away from my home state of New Jersey, going to college in Virginia, really not having, it was really just me, right? Because I didn't go away to school with anyone that I knew, and just kind of figuring that out, building a life, building career from there, so I can help on that aspect of challenging yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone, really determining and discovering who you really are, right? How you show up in the world. So starting the coaching business is really what my goal was, is to really help individuals get better at being themselves, really get confident, comfortable, owning what they know and willing to learn what they don't. So that's really where the life and career piece took off from, especially with career in regards to those who want to aspire to do more, become a leader, go into management, and any other aspect of their career journey.
Love it. Amazing. I appreciate that. So let's talk more about kind of now where you're sitting at. So you currently are in a position where you're helping people with their life and their career, and a lot of executive leaders, etc.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do for you as a coach? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just feel that coaching is such a noble profession. I think, it's a responsibility of all of us to share what we know, right? To help other individuals who are just aspiring to be better in any aspect. And if you have experience and knowledge in that realm, you should be willing to part that knowledge, right? So I feel like, me seeing someone going from a place where they may have a little bit of a challenge or confusion or struggle to really become clear about what they want to do, that's very gratifying and satisfying for me, right? It feels like I've lended some of my experience and knowledge to help them get better at being themselves and really pushing themselves beyond what they thought they were capable of. So it's a very good feeling to know that I can help someone kind of start that foundational work, start to build on that foundation, and eventually get to where they need to be. And then also, once they get to that point, being able to help somebody else, right? So it's a pay it forward type mantra that I try to live by, encouraging people to, hey, if you see someone that's in a rut or trying to figure out what they want to do next, be willing to help them as well. So it's a very satisfying and gratifying position to be in as a life and career coach.
You make such a good point there about the fact that, they're going to pay it forward.
Absolutely.
We really don't see that. Coaches,
Right.
A lot of times forget the fact that, you may be helping that one person, but that one person is going to help 10 more people.
Absolutely.
And so really it's helping thousands when you really think about it. So really, really good point there. Have you found, I want to talk more about the successes of what you've done so far. So can you tell us a little bit more about kind of your best kind of students, clients, case studies?
I can speak of one in particular where a gentleman came to me and he was really just kind of trying to figure out where he wanted to go with his career. He had been at it for about 10 or 15 years, still in kind of a individual contributor / manager role, but he really felt his talent and experience was more of a leader, but he didn't have any foundational tools because he was so good at it as an individual contributor that every time he was hired somewhere, the career track kind of stopped there, right? It was kind of, here's what we need you for. You're great at this. You stay stuck there. And he really wanted to do more. He felt that, his experience, his knowledge, he can help a lot of people. And he's helped a lot of people, but just never at the position of title or compensation that he felt he was willing to earn. So he and I worked together, just kind of really building blocks, right? Really kind of understand, well, what does that mean to you? What does a leadership position mean for him? And for him, it was just about the pride, right? It was about the pride of, hey, I've done well in my career, and now I'm able to see a promotion in my responsibilities and being able to help more people. So to him, it was satisfying and gratifying. So we worked on that. We worked on really him establishing, okay, what are the things you need to work on? Because if everyone's seeing you and every job you get, they're only seeing you as an individual contributor, why is that? Right? What is really causing them to only keep you in that role where you're responsible only for your own production? And what we discovered is that, he had really fine-tuned that part of his career. He really just locked in and really became great at, delivering for customers and, working on his deliverables individually. But he was in a box a little bit, right? He would win all the awards and he would do all those things, but it was more of his competitive side. And he didn't really understand the science behind transitioning from the individual contributor into a manager. So we worked on some of the things like being willing to part ways with knowledge. When you're an individual contributor, you're uber competitive, right? Because you're competing against everyone else. You want to be first on the board. You want the recognition and things of that nature. And what you have to determine or discover in yourself is, how do I rid myself of that and understand that I'm leaving a legacy by imparting some of this knowledge to others and help them get to where they're going? And so we worked on that. And over about, 8 to 12 weeks of us working together, the light bulb started coming off for him. And he really understood that he had to change a lot of things. And it was more on his self-reflection than it was on me giving him techniques and strategies. It was really about him digging in and saying, okay, here's what I'm going to learn. So I gave him a couple of suggestions on books he needs to read, some YouTube videos he needs to go after, really understand who he is, some self-affirmation, also some humility, right? He had to confront himself on the things that he could do better. And I tell you, within, probably another 6 to 8 weeks after that, after we finished working with each other, he ended up getting promoted into a manager, getting promoted into a director, and now he's a VP over a group. Just because he just was able to figure out, well, how can I lend more of myself to, to an organization? How can I really show that I'm capable of leading others outside of myself? And for me, that was very gratifying to see him go from someone that was just kind of frustrated to someone who is now, really on a track to where if he wants to go independent and start his own thing, or if he wants to become a senior level leader or maybe a CEO one day, he's really in a space over that time frame. And we're not talking about years. We're talking probably, 6 months, maybe 8 months of time. He's really seeing himself really go far with his career. And for me, that's very gratifying because I our first meeting, he couldn't really even tell me what he wanted to do. He knew he wanted to make more money. He knew, he wanted titles, but he didn't have any plan on how to get there. So us working together really showed me that, one, I'm good at what I do, but I'm also good at helping people become better at what they do. So that was really one case among others that I felt, that this is really what it's about for me. I could do this all day long. This is something that I've grown to love, just because it makes me feel great to see somebody succeed where they're trying to go.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's honestly it. Like a lot of coaches become coaches because they realize they want to do something impactful. They want to serve others, make a difference. And it's moments like this that you had where you realize, actually, I am of value and I can make a difference and I can serve other people and I love doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I've always thought, even growing up, like, you're always a coach. You may not have the title, right? But, if people come to you for advice, friends, family, or whomever, you're coaching, right? You're giving people advice on how to handle a situation, how to deal with something, how to manage their emotions, how to not get overwhelmed, how to have faith. So it's a lot of things that you're already doing. You just don't have a title, or you don't put it into a formal structure as a coach, but everyone has been coaching, pretty much their entire life. But now I'm really understanding how I can use those talents and understanding to not just keep it one-to-one. Now I can do it for many people. I can do it for groups. And, that's really, really gratifying and satisfying for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I want to talk more about the business side of things now. Mm-hmm. So you've obviously, worked with a few clients to date now. Right. Tell us more about kind of the beginning stages of starting this coaching business.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Okay. Yeah. It's a challenge, right? Because as you're starting something new, everything is new, right? From client attraction to creating a funnel to getting your word out there, getting your marketing out to the public to let them know that you're in this space. And that takes time, right? Mm-hmm. It's not an overnight success. You're going to have to deal with the rejection or no activity, or no one seeing your postings, or no one responding to your ads, and no one in a buying space right now. But what I always say is you have to be aggressive, patient, and persistent, right? You have to keep working this thing. It's just like anything. If you keep going after it, at some point it's going to break. Even if a lot of people like I do who have been in the industry for a very long time, you still have to keep working in advertising. You still have to keep promoting and doing all the things to get exposure. And if you're willing to do that and be patient with it, eventually it's gonna happen for you, right? For me, it took a while. I decided that I wanted to go into coaching probably 2 years ago, and really didn't get my first client until 8 months later.
Wow.
Right. And that's me knowing a lot of people. So you're gonna have to, some people it happens faster for, some people it takes a little bit longer. But if you're committed to what you want to do, you gotta build it. It's just like anything. You don't start building the house with the roof, right? You start with the foundation. So if you start doing all the things that's necessary to build up the exposure, to build up the credibility, to be seen as someone that's credible, that is a thought leader and that has the experience, then people will start coming to you. Then people will start feeling comfortable referring others to you. So that first 8 months, it was like, what am I doing this? I'm successful in the other side of my business. I've been in recruiting and hiring process optimization for a very long time. It does well. Why am I doing this if it's so hard for me to crack into it? Well, again, it comes down to desire. Do you want to do it, or you just want the benefits of doing it? And that's a question everyone has to answer for themselves.
I love that because it's something that we also say as well sometimes to a lot of clients, where it's like, we talk about leadership coaches, right? So we've taken quite a few leadership coaches and made them go 200K, etc. plus from zero on social media. So all organic following, etc. Now, the ones that are at 200K, they're getting speaking gigs from Pepsi, they're getting
Right.
etc. But it's what you said, right? You have to take that time to build yourself up to a
Absolutely.
point where people will come to you. You
Right.
have to invest in that time, otherwise you're never gonna
Mhm.
get forward, you know.
Right.
What was that for you? Because I'm assuming it wasn't digitally. Like, what was it like for you
Right.
building? What was that 8 months of building?
It was just a lot of activity, right? It was a lot of activity. It was a lot of content, posting on my socials. It was about building that brand presence. It was about putting some videos out there, right? Talking about, why me, right? Why work with me and what I've done, kind of building the brand. So, I always knew that it would take time. I didn't go into it thinking that, hey, as soon as I launch this thing, within a couple of months, I'm going to have clients knocking down my door. That's just not even realistic. But I knew that if I built it and made it credible, people will come. And then also, I'm not trying to coach everyone. That's the thing. I'm not casting a net wide. I'm not trying to get 500 clients, right? I'm trying to really work with those who are at a point in their life or career that they're ready to make a change. And
Absolutely.
that's what it's about for me. So if that means 2, 5, 8, 10, 15, I don't know what that number is, but to a point where I feel that my value that I'm adding is not being overwhelmed by the number of people that I'm trying to help. That's what it's about for me. So yeah, in the beginning, it was just really about me being patient with it, enjoying the process. I'm a process guy, right? I'm a process guy on the recruiting side. I had to be a process guy on the coaching side and let it develop itself through my activity.
Amazing. And how did you end up getting that first client then?
Actually, it was on LinkedIn. I had been posting on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. And I got a inbox for someone to say, hey, I've been seeing your content, been following you for a while. Certainly want to learn more about how you may be able to help me. I'm kind of in this career rut and looking to kind of take myself to a different level. I follow your techniques and your advice and things of that nature, and think, you're someone that I would want to work with. And so we set up an introductory call. And we went through, kind of what he was thinking about. I told him my experience directly correlated with his. He found that to be, kind of the connector between us. And we started our session about a week or two later.
Amazing. And how do you work, like as a coach, do you work on like a monthly retainer? Do you do a program, one fee? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, it's kind of a multi approach. Either you could do one-on-one sessions with me, or it's monthly on a package where it's like, hey, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, depending on what we determine in that discovery call. And sometimes it's just a one-off, right? Hey, I want to have access to you, and I have a kind of a retainer fee package where it's like, hey, as you need advice, as you need coaching, here's what it'll be for a year. And people sign up for that as well. So I have one client that does that. She just, pings me and say, hey, can I get on your calendar? I want to run something by you. I'm having an issue at work. I need some coaching through it. We do that. But most of mine are packages, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And then for the leadership, it starts with 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 16 weeks that we do it, depending on where they're trying to go.
Love it. Now, what's the plan for 2025 with the business?
Yeah, now it's really about growth, right? I think I'm in a good space where I've established some decent clientele, but I still have a lot of white space on my calendar, right? Which means I can do a lot more. So I'm really, interested in helping people. I'm really interested in getting to those people that really need the help, want the help, and want to get better at being themselves. So now it's about scaling, right? My 2, 3, 5 year plan is to really do this full time, from a beach somewhere, right? Where I could just open up my laptop, have my discussions, and help people get better, but do it at a pace and in a space that I want. After working so long in corporate and building the business, I want to be able to do it as my go-to, but also in a more controlled environment where I can dictate when, how long, and how many people I work with.
Absolutely. You just need a flood of clients begging to work with you. You want.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I get that. So what's the plan? How are you going to make that happen? Just so our listeners and viewers to understand.
Yeah, more just focusing in on the marketing, right? Doing things like this, right? Speaking to you and figuring out how I can get the exposure and get out into the public a lot more. Be it through ads or, just organically, or people seeing and sharing our discussions for them to understand who I am as an individual, that will resonate with them. So it's going to be all about the marketing. You got to get the marketing out there consistently. It's, you can't do it for 6 weeks and stop. You got to keep going after. Marketing is done every day. So I'm committed to doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into the mind of a coach who's looking to scale with marketing, because I'm sure our listeners would appreciate that, which is in this game of marketing, you've got ads, you've got organic, you've got all of these other methods. For you, where will you be predominantly wanting to focus your efforts? And will you be building a team? Will you be doing it yourself? What's going to be your approach?
Yeah, you're going to need a combination, and you're going to need some automation. There's no doubt about it. I mean, with the advent of AI and machine learning and all the things that are out there, you're going to need to automate your marketing processes to scale your reach. So I'm committed to doing that, building funnels, using my email list to reach out as well, continue to market directly to them, but also organic reach, right? Doing the ads and things of that nature, just kind of, a 3-4 pronged approach to ensure that I'm getting the exposure that I need. Because, one thing that we talked about was, my other goal is speaking, right? I want to do a TED Talk at some point. I want to go speak to organizations. I want to be able to go to corporate functions or to groups, civil and social groups, and be able to speak about, life-changing things and, things that people could do to better themselves. So all this is kind of the foundation building to do some of that as well.
Amazing. Great to hear. We're running out of time, so I just want to wrap things up with a final couple of points. What's one thing in your journey that you've learned so far, just from your journey? We'll go down to your coaching in a second, but from your journey so far, what's one message that you really feel that everyone who's listening to this or watching this really needs to hear?
Yeah, that it's going to be tough, and that's okay, right? And that, embrace the fact that it's hard. It's going to be a tough road, but if you're really passionate about it and you're willing to put forth that effort and energy, that in time is going to open up for you. And it's all about that, that really commitment to yourself, your commitment to yourself, the discipline, the accountability, and all the things that you need to do yourself in order for that to happen. There's no magic wand with this thing. There's no magic wand with life, right? You have to work extremely hard at it. Same thing goes for coaching. You have to be able to get yourself into a space where people feel like you're the guy or the girl that they resonate with, that has the credibility, that can help them solve their problem. Coaching is about solving. That's what it is. We're not therapists, but we are accountability, experts, in my opinion. We help people get up off that couch, go and do what they need to do, go read a book, go listen to something, go to a seminar, do all the things to really grow yourself beyond where you are today. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's worth it. I will say that time and time again. Put in the work, and you will reap the rewards from the hard work that you put in. That's really what it is.
Love it. I totally agree. And from now, your coaching angle, so anyone who's a leader out there, anyone who's looking to transition in their career, anyone who just needs kind of career help, what's one thing that you just wish that all of them knew that you can help them with?
Really making that decision. I think oftentimes people procrastinate and they talk themselves out of the self-development. Well, I don't really need that. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know enough already. What can a coach really teach me? A lot, because, a coach is coming in from an unbiased perspective. And oftentimes, people aren't willing to hold themselves as accountable as a coach will be able to hold them accountable. Right? You'll talk yourself out of anything. People talk themselves out of working out every day. That's why, beginning of the year, they set these resolutions. And by, the 8th or 9th day, the resolution is toast, because they don't have the self-accountability to push themselves to get up and go to their gym, go for a run, stop eating fast food, all the stuff that has caused the challenges that they're having. So, there's so much value in coaching. There's just so much value with someone giving you an honest opinion that's not interested in you failing yourself. Absolutely. Right? By letting you off the hook with procrastination and with lack of accountability. You come to me, we're going to work. We're going to put in the work. We're going to do the work. So in whatever time frame that light bulb goes off for you, you'll see the development happen for yourself. But it starts with, trusting that I've been there, I've done that, I failed, I've succeeded. I've had tremendous success. I've had, great challenges that I've overcome. I can help you do the same thing, but you have to help me help you. And that's where it all begins.
Love it. Love it. Final question. What's one thing that you really wish that I asked you today?
Wow, that's a good question. Probably, what do I regret about coaching? I think that's a question that may not be asked because people assume that everything is all well and good and it's all rosy and things of that nature. I wouldn't say I have a regret, though. I think for me, it's maybe somewhat of a regret that I didn't start it earlier in my career. Yeah, I probably was qualified, 10 years ago. And, the light bulb didn't come on for me because I was working and running someone else's business and growing their dreams and doing all the things that are necessary, using my talent and experience and knowledge to help someone else grow, that it wasn't an epiphany for me. So I won't call it a regret. I just think it was a wish that I probably should have started this a lot earlier within my career, or maybe when I was in big corporate and I was in a senior level position, I could have done this as kind of a parallel to that job. And I waited, many years after that, through no fault of my own, but just from a timing perspective, I probably should have done it 10, maybe 12 years ago.
I love that. I'm so happy that you said that. Sweet. Well, I appreciate you, Jermaine. Thank you so much for this podcast.
Enjoyed our conversation.
So many more questions I can go through, but we're stuck for time, so I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And how can anyone get in touch if they want to kind of find out more?
Yeah, so you can catch me on LinkedIn, just under my name, Jermaine Williamson. My Instagram is JLW Consulting LLC, and then my Facebook page is JLW Consulting. Then you can email me at jermaine@JLWconsultingllc.com. And then our website is www.jlwconsultingllc.com, or my personal website is jermainewilliamson.com.
Sweet. Perfect.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?